Hey Sainers, welcome back to the Saints TV YouTube channel. Hope you're all having an awesome week so far. I've been wanting to do this video for about a week or two now, and it's off the back of a lot of people messaging me. Hey Jake, can you do a bit of a VFL video, kind of run down how it's going to look, what are the benefits of it? Why did we really push for this? And why is it such great news for the footy club? And the next steps. And I've been planning this for a little bit. So I've kind of got a similar formula to my last video. There's some key points here that I want to discuss with you. Why I think it's a great move. I mean, I've done a video initially on it when the news broke, but obviously there's a bit more detail to it now, and we can kind of flesh it out a little bit more. So obviously, as we all know, VFL, St Kilda, standalone next season. It's going to be awesome. What I want to go into a little bit more is how it's going to work with the game plan, how it helps player development, staff development as well, and why I think having this level of control is a non-negotiable when you're looking to win an AFL flag. I think it's already awesome because of a consistent game plan. So when I talk about that, I think about, the mixed messaging, what AFL players are told to do at AFL level and maybe what they're told to do at VFL level. So no disrespect at all to the Sandringham link, but obviously there's a inconsistency in what St Kilda seniors are doing and what Sandy was doing, the way they played, even the positions that players were in. I think that lack of consistency there can obviously be a little bit detrimental when it comes to players that play a certain position at AFL level and they get pushed down to VFL level to find form, and they find themselves playing at half forward instead of in the guts where they really should be learning their football. So consistent game plan individually is really important, but obviously as a collective as well in terms of structures, even the terminology, in terms of, maybe ruckman, like the certain words or code words that they'll say to set up at a centre bounce or a stoppage around the ground, that sort of stuff, that can translate from VFL all the way through to AFL. It's much more difficult when there's a bit of a disconnect there, when you've got different coaches and that sort of thing, like we've had for the last couple of years. Now, those coaches are really going to be relaying the terminology and key messaging that would be coming from the top, coming from Ross Lyon and obviously Corey Enright, who his influence by the year is really growing at the football club. Eliminates mixed messages or any conflicting priorities in terms of, what the affiliated club like Sandy might have wanted to achieve that season, even individually and collectively, and then what St Kilda would want to achieve as well. So I think having that all under the same umbrella is only a good thing. The other one is obviously targeted player development. No specific players, but we've seen it all before where you need a player to learn a certain trait for a certain position in the AFL, but they don't do it in the VFL because the VFL team has different priorities and they get played out of position. The coaches then have full oversight over the list in every aspect. So we know if Lance Collard isn't playing for the AFL team, we know that the messaging from Ross and Corey Enright will trickle down to potentially a Brendan Goddard or whoever is going to front up and be the head coach of the VFL team. And they will tell them, this is what we want from Lance. This is the way we want him to play. These are the key targets for this game. It's not going to go missing and then let them kind of handle that problem. And at the end of the day, you're just looking at the VFL stats and going, Lance Collard kicked 4 goals and had 4 tackles. Great. But there's more to it. There's a bit more nuance, I think, when it comes to what we're going to be able to do with players like Lance and other developing players as well that won't be getting a regular gig at AFL level. And staff development is obviously a big one. Like Brendan Goddard, he's obviously a chance again to retain that position and be a coach of the team. That may change. Obviously, Lenny Hayes is in development as well, and we've got an opening at AFL level with Jared Rivers parting ways, so they might get pushed up. But that's the beauty of this, is that anyone that coaches the VFL or is involved in the VFL, if they do a really good job there are probably more pathways now to going up the ranks and then becoming part of the St Kilda seniors coaching staff, because there is going to be that direct line of communication between whoever's running the show in VFL level and then obviously the big dogs of the seniors in obviously who I've mentioned, Ross, Enright, Robert Harvey, you've got Bolton as well. So there's a lot of talent at AFL level, but it can go down the other way, and from that way you can develop and then work your way up as well. So I think that's really important, just to be as strong as possible on both facets of the club. And then just full control over the AFL list. This is probably one of the bigger ones. You can't really control. We couldn't control, who Sandy really wanted to play for Sandy last season. We could control who was dropped. AFL listed players who couldn't play, or were working their way back up to form, dropped to Sandy. We couldn't really control too much about anything else other than that. Now we can control drafting the top-up players, which we're doing right now. So we've signed Billy Richardson. He was from Sandy. We're looking at the Sandy Star, Jonah Campili. Tyson McKenzie's already signed. We've got Billy McGee Gallimberti, who's from the GWS group. We've got him on board. Ned McGuinness as well as signed, and he played 15 games for Sandy last season. So we're clearly able to identify certain players that represent, I guess, the way St Kilda wants to play. We're not thinking separately now. It's really just what traits do we want at AFL level, and then how can we align and match those traits at VFL level? And then it just makes the transition so much more seamless when it comes to someone that might be playing really well at VFL level, and then they can work their way up, get picked up in the mid-season draft or on the rookie list eventually, and then play AFL and maybe not feel as overawed as what they might have in the past, because the way they play, the way they train, the facilities, which we'll talk about, all of that is super consistent with an AFL run organization. It doesn't feel like a big step up, which I think is the key. You want to really be stemming that. You want to shorten that and make them feel as comfortable as possible, as quickly as possible. The other one is identity. One club message, one club culture. There's no separation here. We wear the St Kilda colours. We sing the St Kilda song. We go and play at St Kilda training facilities. We go to RSCA Park, and I think just that alone, the players that won't be playing AFL level are still going to feel really strongly aligned with what the football club is doing, because they represent the football club. Just to wear the jumper, to sing the song, and to see the supporters. I didn't go to many VFL games last season, I'll be honest. But next season, I cannot wait to be able to go, especially if, we have a good game, like the seniors play on Friday night football, we win, everyone's up and about, and then you got VFL to look forward to on the Saturday, knowing, there's certain players there that you think could really push into the seniors the following week, barring injuries or form or whatever. I think just that makes the awareness and the knowledge of the fan base much stronger. People are going to be looking at the VFL in a different light, I think. And I know we're late to this and other clubs have been doing it for years, but I don't think we can, discount just that unity that it might bring, or hopefully will bring, to just football back at Moorabbin. AFLW's already played there. To have the VFL as well, and there's just general training and open training sessions for both squads is enormous. I just want to shout out Paul Amy, who has been doing some really good reporting on online about our signings in the VFL. Hasn't really been talked up too much anywhere else, but he's really on the ball, and hopefully I'll be able to get him on the channel at some point to have a chat. So those are kind of the reasons why I think the standalone for St Kilda is really, really critical in the further development, and obviously the steps forward to try and win this elusive second flag in the AFL. And you know what? I think we're going to be fielding quite a strong VFL team. I can feel it. And you look at recent premiers, the teams that have made top four, and you look at the way their teams have performed in the VFL, they're generally very strong. That's when depth comes into it, whether there's injuries and you need to bring someone up from the VFL to perform. They already know their role. They already know the St Kilda way, the game plan, and can fit into it seamlessly, right? We haven't really had that luxury at this point in time. We've kind of had to just hope that it works and not have much strategy around it. Maybe the AFL players that are dropped, they know a little bit more, but just, I think, I look at, and I hate to say it because I know some people are Spurs fans and whatnot in the comments, but as an Arsenal fan, you look at the academy that we've got and the players that develop from under 16s, under 18s, under 21s, and then they eventually make their way into the first team. They're already they just know how to play. They know their positioning. They even know where the other senior players are. They've never played with them, but they know the structure because they've trained like that their whole life. we're only getting to that point now. And I think it wouldn't be, surprising at all to think that, yes, the signings we got from other clubs and splashing the cash is going to be a big reason why we perform well next season. But I don't want to underestimate how critical this step is in the VFL for St Kilda to become a really strong team from top to bottom, not just AFL listed players, but the whole squad, both squads, to be playing and focused on the same message and the same goal. It's absolutely enormous. So that's just my thoughts on the VFL at the moment, guys. Any more details to come from that, I'll put them out on the channel. I appreciate all of you tuning in and everyone for messaging, saying that you're interested in this type of video. Hopefully I was able to provide some level of information for you, as well as just my opinion on why I think it's going to be monumental for us. And yeah, I just can't wait for, the VFL, AFL season to start, but even just the VFL, just to see what the final team's going to look like. And then to go down and support them at Moorabbin most weekends is going to be unreal. So thank you very much, Saners. Hopefully you have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, and as always, go you mighty Saners. See you guys.